Hi everyone, I'm Jackie and you all know Jason, and today we have another round of 5 questions.
With Intern Jacki.
Yes,
Good to have you back for another week. I'm sure
Thank
Packers
you.
fans cheering like crazy, not because they want their team to have success, but because they want to have more weeks of your questions.
Well, I'm glad to be back.
I hope you brought it. I hope you raised your game for a playoff week.
I did. These questions are really good.
And I like
They're
the
top
confidence.
notch.
There's hope. That's a little confidence from Jackie. We like to see that.
All right, sounds good.
Now you don't oversell them. Now they better not. These better not be
No.
crappy like last week.
They're not crappy.
Okay.
Like I said, they're top notch.
All right, let's go. Top notch question number 1.
All right. Favre is supposedly retiring again. Do you think maybe him and Ted Thompson may work something out so he can retire as a Packer?
I think sooner or later, I think they'll probably reach that conclusion. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. He didn't sexually harass you at any point, did he? As far
No,
as we know?
I stayed away
Okay.
purposely.
Good decision on your part. I hope you haven't had that during your internship either. When I look at Favre, I look at a guy who, obviously there's a lot of waxy buildup there, and they're going to have to get past that. I don't know when that's going to happen. I don't know him well enough at this point to know what he's thinking or what he's feeling. Bill Johnson and I have talked about this before on Green and Gold today, that the smartest PR move that the Packers could do is to invite him back into the fold immediately. Then it puts his people and him in a I have to make a decision kind of mode, and it really leaves the ball in his court. So I don't know how it's going to play out. Obviously with the playoffs, there's a lot bigger things to worry about than him, but he certainly did call it a career, and I think it's for good this time. Now he can focus on his sexual assault, sexual harassment lawsuits, and the rest of that kind of stuff.
Ouch.
It's in the news. I'm not making a
I know.
Taiwanese.
It's pretty bad.
Deadspin has this thing today with animation reenacting his behavior, which if you haven't been to Deadspin, check that out.
Oh, okay.
Well, you should, but others can.
Good to know. Okay, and with the signing of Desmond Bishop, where does that leave guys like AJ Hawk and Nick Barnett?
I think that's the question seemingly everyone asked as soon as Desmond Bishop's news broke, and I don't know where that leaves them, to be perfectly honest. I think from a team perspective, they would love to have all those guys, to have those alternatives in the middle linebacking core. But if you're Nick Barnett, do you want to come back as a backup? If you're AJ Hawk, you don't know how this team feels about you necessarily. The coaches seem to really like him. He seems to be an important part of the program. They like the fact that he's so consistent, even though Packers fans, I think, would like to see more big plays from him. But that's one of the many decisions they're going to have this offseason. If I were a betting man, I would say that I think Nick Barnett's going to end up as the odd man out. But whether or not that turns out to be the case, there's so much uncertainty in the offseason because of the collective bargaining agreement. I think it's going to be a while before we know the answer to that question.
After Sunday's game, Mike McCarthy made the comment about Rodgers' season kind of being like the offense as a whole this season. And then today he made a comment saying Rodgers needs to stay true to the standards he has set. Now, I thought that was a little odd. I mean, do you think these comments were made to maybe, spark a fire, light a fire?
Did you ask Aaron that when you introduced
No,
yourself
I
to him
didn't.
and talked to him for the
I
first time
have a reason
today?
for that.
That was good. I was very proud of you. That showed some measure of
Mitch made me do it.
you not being afraid to talk to him. That's more progress on the Jackie mileposts. I was a little bit surprised that he was as critical as he was of Aaron Rodgers when he made that comment after the game or made it on Monday. Whenever he did it, I was surprised by that. I really did think that if he had a criticism of Rodgers, I figured it would come behind closed doors. And I thought that was a little bit critical. Now, I also noticed today that he said that he's a damn good quarterback. It was almost as if some of his comments were making up for the way he chose to phrase things earlier in the week. So I don't have any background information on that, but that was the feeling I got. I got into it a little bit with Homer today because I think it's crazy that everyone points out that this guy hasn't won a playoff game. He's only had 2 chances. One year they didn't make the playoffs, and one in the playoff game they lost, he threw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns, made up for the interception he had, but obviously had the fumble on the last play where people criticized him of holding onto the ball too long. So This is a big game for him. I don't think there's any question about that. And I think great quarterbacks are great in the postseason. That's what dictates greatness. And so we'll see where his growth as an elite quarterback comes on Sunday against Philadelphia. If they can win that, if he can go down to Atlanta and win, then I think the perception of Aaron Rodgers goes from a really good quarterback to approaching elite quarterback.
The first time the Packers played the Eagles this season, they were unprepared for Michael Vick. This time they know they're playing him. So do you think they will be better prepared, maybe different results?
Well, I don't know about different results because Michael Vick is a special player and a game-changing player. And, certainly the Vikings a couple weeks ago showed that he's stoppable, but we also saw a game against Washington where he was unstoppable. So I don't know. I'm guessing that with Dom Capers having an opportunity to prepare for him, it's going to be a different dynamic. When you talk to Dom, what he says is they basically prepared for 6 to 8 plays. And when we had our conference call with Michael Vick today, I asked him that. And he said basically yes, that you could tell that they had a game plan for him. He expects that they're cooking something up for him this week, and without question they are. So we'll see how the Packers handle Michael Vick, if they use a spy, who they use to do that spying. But clearly that matchup is the most important matchup on who's going to win this football game. Can the Packers defense contain or limit Michael Vick?
With a guy like Deshaun Jackson on
Is
the
this the
Eagles-
Twitter question?
No,
Okay.
I don't have Twitter questions.
Oh, that's right. You don't
I
have
don't have
Twitter
Twitter, and we didn't get enough views.
Maybe this week, Jax.
Maybe.
Okay.
I took it as a sign maybe people really don't want me on Twitter.
I don't know about that. All right, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. Question 5.
So, with Deshaun Jackson, he had that great punt return against the Giants. Tim Mastay and the special teams, do they need to take maybe the same approach with him as they did with Devin Hester?
Well, that was the approach that Matt Dodge and the Giants were supposed to take on that last punt, punted out of bounds. Now, Tim Mastay didn't kick every punt out of bounds against Devin Hester, but he did get the job done. And I think there's no question that they have to be able to do that against Deshaun Jackson. It's funny, though, you think about that punt return, that's what got the Packers into the playoffs. If he doesn't return that punt for a touchdown, the Packers may not be in the postseason. In fact, the Giants would be in the postseason for sure. And then, I don't know if the Eagles make it or not. There's a bunch of other issues there. But to me, the reality is that this is certainly one of the big matchups. Now, I talked about Vic. I think that's the most important one. But you saw the difference when you could keep Devin Hester from having a big impact. The Packers lost to the Bears the first time around because Devin Hester had a punt return for a touchdown. They can't afford to have that happen with Deshaun Jackson. If they do, those big plays on special teams, as we've seen with this team when people have been critical of it, really do change games.
Great, thanks. And those are my top-notch 5 questions.
Not crappy at all, I thought. Good work this week.
I told you they were top-notch.
All right, start working on next week just in case we have another one.
I will.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Did you just do the thing again?
I chucked up the deuces.
I'm totally losing that.